A Marriage Interrupted.
Marriage and ADHD.
I'm Felicia Horton.
And I'm Jonathan.
Welcome. Neither one of us are licensed or certified. We have no right to discuss this other than we're living it, and we wanted to share.
Lived it and living it.
Living it. We later on in life diagnosed that one of us has ADHD.
That would be me.
And I thought it might be helpful for all the years we both struggled and both had so many questions that I would put together a little pamphlet to share. And the editor said, nope, you need more. And in the course of that, I asked Jonathan to write it with me. So the two of us wrote the book, A Marriage Interrupted, Marriage and ADHD. And that is what brought us to where we are now with our YouTube channel and all our social media. So before we start, if you could take a moment to like the video and to subscribe, because that means a lot to us. So, hi.
Did I subscribe yet?
I hope so. I think so. I have multiple times. I don't know how that works
I'm not
on
sure.
all my devices. It probably doesn't work. But anyway, from all the editing and prepping and preparing and all that goes into each and every one of these videos, kudos to anyone who posts on YouTube. It's not as easy as it looks. So again, I do not have ADHD. Jonathan has ADHD. And so some of the things, a lot of that creates differences that would not otherwise be there if we both were on that same path. So social anxiety is one of them.
Social anxiety.
Yes.
Big word.
It is. Well, it's two words. But what do you think of that? How would you define social anxiety?
Well, anxiety certainly is self-explanatory. Social anxiety would be getting anxious by being social.
Right. And how does that, so for me, I've always been in sales and in marketing, and I go to a lot of networking groups. I speak publicly quite often. And now if I had a choice, I'd be home writing in my own little world, but I don't mind going out. I don't get anxious about speaking or anxious or nervous about going out. And how do you feel, Jonathan?
I don't get anxious going out in public, but I do. I know you're headed with this. I do get anxiety sometimes when we are supposed to go to one of those big functions. I don't know anybody, and it gets a little anxious.
Yeah. So how I see it is Jonathan always is not up to going out, be it for work, for my work, in a circle of people that we know, even when we know them. Sometimes once he gets there, he does okay.
Sometimes.
Most of the time when you come home, you're like, I'm glad I did that. I had fun when it's with people we know. Often when it's for work for me or one of my gatherings, he'll often say, I could have done without that.
I don't know, the Chamber of Commerce Christmas thing we went to was kind of fun because they had great food. Mm-hmm. Feed me, I'll tell you, I'm happy anyway.
And yet...
we won prizes.
Right, but wait a minute. We got there and there are all these tables, and where did we sit?
All by ourselves.
Mm-hmm. We found a table to sit all by ourselves. So
I don't think we knew anybody yet there. So
I did. I knew a handful.
It's uncomfortable sitting at a table that you don't know anybody.
Yeah, which if I would have gone to that event alone, which I often do, I do sit at tables where I don't know people, and it's not my favorite thing, but I do it. So I know recently I had Jonathan as my guest at one of my events. It was a B&I meeting, for those that know what that is, business networking meeting. And that was not comfortable.
Yeah, those were kind of, because they make you speak.
Right.
Introduce yourself. What do you do?
And how did you feel in that moment?
Like I should have said no.
So yeah. So that creates social anxiety for you, yeah. Correct? Yeah. Because it's not like Jonathan can't carry on conversations. He's great.
Is it curable?
Is it curable? Is that curable? I think it's something, sometimes one of our daughters was sharing with us, it's like a mask. You put on this persona to get past it. It's acting. Um, I think we all do that in life.
You act to be in those situations, or
Yeah, yeah. And
act that you're not
you,
uncomfortable.
yes, you do that. Excuse me. You do that sometimes when we go out in certain groups. You have a persona where you stand and walk differently than the man I've loved and been married to for 34 years. Your voice gets deeper and your conversation changes, and you get a little more sarcastic and a little more,
Hi, Jonathan here. Nice to meet you.
pretty much, almost
Yeah.
awfully close, awfully close. And I'll step back sometimes, and I know that you're anxious at that moment, but I still like, you know, the person you are is great. You don't need that persona, but I also understand that that persona helps you get through those
Just trying to,
situations.
melve in and
You kind of work your way
kind of just
into
ease my
it.
way in.
Often Jonathan says, "Oh, you're so good at this. You're so comfortable with it," and I don't want it to sound like I'm never nervous or uncomfortable, but it's not anxiety per se. I don't feel like, oh, I don't want to go today. Now, if the weather's bad, if I've been home all day working, like the other day, I was writing all day, I was editing, and then at 3:30 I had to get dressed to go out. I mean, I was dressed, but changed and got.
Did you have
I didn't want to go.
anxiety?
It wasn't anxiety. It was just I didn't want to go. There are times I don't love going out, but it's not an anxiety um, to do that. So um,
And is that noticeable for me
I
when
think
I
it
don't want to go
is.
out?
It is, and and I think that spills over into, and yes, we have 5 children, 3 grandchildren. My mom, we spend a lot of time with. So we have, and we both work. I work multiple jobs. We both have busy lives. We do, but I still am able to maintain my friendships with my girlfriends, um, and and a couple guys that I'm friends with. Well, a guy, Tim, in that group. So I talk to them every day. We text every day. We communicate every day. We don't talk every day. We communicate every day. Do you feel like you've held on to any friends or allowed connections to foster?
Is that part of social anxiety?
I don't
I
know. I'm asking
know
how you
we've
feel.
moved a bit, different state to state, and it's hard keeping in contact with friends from other areas
But,
when your family unit needs you
but what
more.
about when we're in those places? So each place we've been in, we've been 8, 10 years, 8, 10 years, um, and we're not far from San Diego. And you do have a friend that when you're with,
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not that good at organizing or finding the time to go out to meet these people. It's
yes.
finding the time.
So Jonathan has a friend that
Is that part of ADHD then? That
I
would
think it's
be.
part of the social anxiety that comes with it. I was with someone today who we always find that common ground to chat because she has ADHD, and she loves it that I get it and don't judge it, and she always calls me her female husband, right? My female husband, because she's the female version of Jonathan in many ways, but she's very
Maybe she and I should hang out more often.
Oh, you'd adore her, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's wonderful. No, I don't. But yeah, Emma, who knows? I don't know, whatever it is. But anyways, but we were talking about um, those that have ADHD that are so introverted that it's actually becomes physically painful to go out and to socialize and to do that stuff versus those that um, aren't like that. Don't they go out, they don't love it always, they don't always say the right thing, they sometimes are concerned, they'll speak out of turn because they forget their filters, um, but going out and about, this particular person tends to be loud in situations, in a lovely way, um, but you can be that person too, right? You could be that class clown, when we go out
Yeah.
sometimes.
Am I funny?
Yeah, well, that's what the clown part comes
Yeah.
in. Yeah. You tell
Stand up
me.
kind of stuff or what?
Um, yeah, I don't know if it's that good, but shout out to
I don't notice that.
uh, yeah. I don't think we ever like notice ourselves that much. I think for me, I do so much public speaking, then people will come up, and I'm flattered and grateful for when people will come up and thank me or say I did something well or I enjoyed hearing you speak. Um, but otherwise, I don't think we see ourselves very much, other than how are you feeling during those moments.
I'll have to be more aware of that.
Um, but that goes back to you say that you don't necessarily feel that way, but yet at the BNI meeting, you walked in, you sat down, and you just prayed no one would talk to you.
They had no food there, did they?
They did.
They did?
Yeah, yeah, they did.
I don't remember.
I know because you went in and sat down right away. You sat down, and it's socializing at the beginning, and I had to bring people to you to introduce you because you were sitting in the chair.
Is that the one with Megan?
Yes. Yeah. So, do you feel that you have any social anxiety?
Of course I do.
Yeah. And do you because and the reason I'm asking that is because we recently had a conversation where Jonathan felt he didn't. He was asking, what is social anxiety? What is it? Like, what is it? And then after you said, I'm not sure why I asked, I do know what it is. I just don't know how I fit into that. Is that correct?
No, I think in this regards, I think I'm agreeing with you that I get uncomfortable going to places that I don't know anybody, don't know what it's all about. And you're forced into situations where you're supposed to be talking to people
Yeah. But in the situations like
or talking about yourself.
but that even goes further to those situations where you are comfortable. I set them up, I arrange them, which is not necessarily the issue, but outside of those moments, those relationships are not fostered in any way. You don't really, outside of our family, you've chosen not to have friends. It's not that people don't want to be your friend. There are people that you know that have reached out. Um, and I guess that goes back to our talks about communication, but they've reached out to you and would love to be your friend.
I guess I'm too much of a cynic. I don't know why. That people are reaching out because they want something from you business wise is different than actually wanting to like hang out with you.
No, I'm talking more like your friends from Petco Park who really adore you, who would love to go on a bike ride.
That's just time. For me, it's I would love to get together with some of those guys.
But when they reach out to you, do you communicate back?
Probably not as good as I should.
Yeah, yeah. And after 34 years, what my perspective of it is, the opportunities come up, and I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong on this. Although just a few moments ago you said I'm never wrong, but I won't hold you to that. That over the years I've seen you avoid friendships, and it's almost
No,
like
I
being
said
busy.
what I said is it's hard for you to accept that you are always right.
That's true. That is what you said. I can accept it.
She's pretty much right all the time.
But I'm not. I'm not. I don't. I can just imagine the comments that are going to come with that. I'm not at all. But knowing you for the over 34 years, and seeing that you've in all those years have never maintained the friendship, even when we're in that location.
You know what's funny? I had some great friendships
before me.
Yeah, and then you get married and you terminate all those friendships because your marriage life becomes your life. Yeah. You get kids and you're so busy that you can't have.
See, that's
truly. I think if you have, you can have friendships, but I've seen more than not that if you you have too much friendships outside your family struggles.
Yeah, but too many friends versus just a friend would be fine. I don't think our family struggles or suffers from my friendship with my girlfriends when we get together once every four
Maybe if
six
I had
weeks.
more girlfriends, that would be easier then.
Well, I welcome you to them.
If having the girlfriends
Although my
works.
two girlfriends are friends with him too. My one of those girlfriends hangs out with you more than I do, so I guess that's kind of. Um, anyways, but I think that goes
Oh, you're talking about
for
that kind of girlfriend.
yeah. Uh, um, I think that goes to another talk that we're going to have. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
On camera, off camera.
well, let's have it off camera before we put it on camera because otherwise it gets a little explosive. Anyway, I am Felicia Horton,
Jonathan,
A Marriage Interrupted.
all the time.
Take care.